Beyond the System by G. Kitsune. Chapter 9. Golden Fire in the D-Rank Gate. The air inside the gate was thick and damp, like walking into a cave where the walls themselves were sweating. Shadows danced across jagged stone as faint torches lit the path ahead, set long ago by examiners. 10 of us had entered, but I was grouped with 4 others: Bran, Mira, Kellan, and Lyse. They looked confident. As we moved deeper, each one found a way to warm up by flexing their abilities. Bran swung his longsword in wide arcs, the edge glowing faintly with a shimmering aura that crackled against the stone. Mira summoned gusts of wind that fluttered down the tunnel, scattering dust and making her short cape snap dramatically. Kellan stomped once, summoning a stone bulwark from the ground with a grunt, as if to remind us he could shield the group at any moment. And Lyse, well, she vanished from sight with a cocky smirk, only to reappear several paces ahead, like she was untouchable. I stayed quiet, watching. Part of me was impressed. For D-rank hopefuls, their power wasn't insignificant. Most seemed trained for direct duels or solo battles, though. If anything, it made me wonder, was I put into a group meant for higher potential candidates just because I claimed to be a fire mage? I rubbed my palm, feeling the faint warmth of Inari's mark. Let's just keep watching for now. The wait to take action wouldn't be too long. A tunnel opened into a wide cavern, and with it came a chorus of shrieks. Goblins poured from the shadows, dozens of them. Crude weapons raised, snarling teeth bared. Their greenish skin gleamed in the dim light as they charged, their numbers far outweighing ours. Bran was the first to step forward, sword raised high. "Don't fall behind!" he shouted, his blade bursting with a brighter aura as he hacked the first goblin down in one clean arc. Mira raised her staff, summoning cutting gales that shredded through a cluster of goblins trying to flank. Her magic left deep slices in the stone walls, the sound of rushing air almost deafening. Kellan roared, summoning a half-dome of stone that caught several hurled spears before they could reach the rest of us. His face twisted with effort, sweat beading on his brow, but his wall held. And Lyse? She flickered in and out of sight, daggers gleaming as she slashed throats and cut tendons, disappearing again before the goblins could retaliate. She left chaos in her wake, but her movements were reckless, leaving her narrowly dodging more than once. I watched, absorbing it all. They were strong, but their strength had limits. Each of them could shine in a one-on-one fight, where skill and timing mattered. But this wasn't a duel. It was a flood. Bran's swings were slowing beneath the endless pressure. Mira's magic scattered goblins by the handful, but scattered wasn't dead. Kellan could only stop what reached his shield, and Lyse's vanishing act was eating through her stamina with every desperate flicker. That was when the goblins surged in mass. A wall of snarling bodies charged straight for us, shrieks echoing, weapons raised. The others braced themselves, but I knew they couldn't handle it. Not without someone else stepping up. It's now or never. I lifted my right hand, the mark burning hotter than it ever had before. Heat raced up my arm, pooling in my chest, until I felt like my lungs were lava. My control over it was shaky at best. I'd only just received such power, but this was my chance. Inari, I thought desperately, clenching my fist. Lend me your strength. Help me keep it together. Her presence pressed gently against my mind, steadying my emotions. The mark flared golden. A sphere of fire burst to life above my palm, swirling and unstable, lashing out with stray tongues of flame that scorched the stone around me. Sweat poured down my temple. My teeth gritted as I tried to hold it together. "Chloe, what are you—" Bran's voice cut off as the fireball doubled in size, lighting the cavern in brilliant orange. I aimed at the oncoming swarm, heart pounding, hands shaking. I had no perfect aim or practiced control. If I let this go in the wrong direction, one of my so-called teammates could end up roasted. But the horde was too close to hesitate. I thrust my arm forward and released it. The fireball roared through the air like a miniature sun, slamming into the goblin mob with an explosion that rocked the cavern. Heat seared across my face as the blast washed outward, engulfing the entire wave of monsters in golden flame. Screams echoed, cut off in seconds as their bodies turned to ash. The cavern walls lit up, shadows twisting violently, the smell of charred flesh hanging heavy in the air. For a heartbeat, silence. Then the fire guttered out, leaving only smoldering embers. The goblins? Gone. Every last one of them reduced to nothing but blackened scraps on the ground. I staggered, panting, my knees nearly buckling. My chest burned, not from injury, but from the sheer strain of channeling that much power at once. Inari's presence flared, soothing me, lending just enough warmth to keep me standing. Slowly, I raised my head. The others were staring at me, wide-eyed. Mira's mouth hung open. Bran's sword lowered as if he'd forgotten he was in a fight. Kellan's shield crumbled to dust in his hands, forgotten. And Lyse flickered back into view, daggers trembling in her grip. Holy shit, Bran muttered. The silence stretched, broken only by the faint crackle of cooling stone. I let a small, controlled smirk tug at my lips. What? Did you think I was going to let you guys have all the fun? Lyse scoffed, trying to hide her nerves. Fun? You almost roasted me. I lifted my hand, still glowing faintly with golden embers, and raised an eyebrow. Almost. Her glare faltered, and she turned away, muttering under her breath. The proctor who had followed us inside stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he studied the scorched battlefield. He didn't say a word, but the slight twitch in his jaw said it all. He hadn't expected that. None of them had. I exhaled, rolling my shoulders. My body still trembled from the strain, but my heart felt light. Messy? Definitely. Dangerous? Without a doubt. But effective? Absolutely. And if this was only the beginning, then the world had no idea what was coming. This was only her first tale. That was a bit much, Inari. I giggled, though my lungs burned and my arms shook with exhaustion. My legs felt like they could give out any second, but I forced myself upright, grinning despite it all. Let's try shorter bursts from now on. Keep it frequent, then finish with a nuke when it counts. The warmth inside me pulsed in agreement, though it carried a teasing ripple that made me roll my eyes. So she really is mischievous? I thought. The goddess had warned me about that. Still, I couldn't deny it. My first true spell had nearly drained me dry. Before I could steady myself further, something unexpected happened. Without warning, golden fire erupted across my body, cloaking me completely in a brilliant blaze. The cavern filled with its glow, brighter than any torch or spell I'd seen. My teammates stumbled back, their eyes wide. Even the proctor's usual stony composure cracked, a nervous flicker flashing across his face. The fire didn't burn. It held me. Warmth slipped beneath the skin and spread deeper, gentle and endless, loosening every knot of pain and weariness buried within. Exhaustion drained away. I felt whole again, as if I'd never used such a huge blast only seconds ago. And then, just like that, the fire disappeared. I stood there renewed, not a trace of strain left within me. This fire, I whispered, staring down at my hands. It's really something else. But then I grimaced and lowered my voice. Using an ability like that right in front of them? Come on, Inari. I appreciate the save, I really do, but maybe try not to shatter our cover next time? She hummed in playful defiance. I sighed, brushing it off, and offered the others a sheepish smile. Got a little excited. The group exchanged glances, each of their faces a mixture of awe and confusion. No hostility, though, just that quiet disbelief, reserved for seeing something far beyond expectation. The proctor's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing. Good. Let him keep guessing. From that point on, I didn't hold back. My stamina felt like it had reset completely, and my flames obeyed with more eagerness than before. Golden bolts of fire flickered across the battlefield, erupting from my palm in sharp bursts. My aim was still rough, landing only 3 shots out of 5, but every bolt hit with brutal force. The ones that connected staggered goblins, scorched wolves, and tore open just enough space for the others to finish whatever survived. Bran's sword cleaved through stunned foes. Mira's wind blew back any that tried to regroup. Kellan's shield absorbed stray attacks, and Lyse darted in to finish off survivors with her quick blades. This was how a party should function. I burned paths through the horde and softened the field wherever the pressure grew too heavy. The others followed in my wake, striking with practiced precision. We weren't perfectly synchronized, but we didn't have to be. My flames opened the way, and they made sure nothing came through it alive. By the time the last goblin crumpled, the cavern reeked of ash and smoke. Silence replaced the shrieks, broken only by the sound of our breathing. We regrouped near the gate. our rune slips glowing faintly as they recorded the completion. The proctor stepped forward, his expression unreadable as his gaze swept across us. He opened his mouth, paused, then closed it again, as if still trying to process what he'd witnessed. We didn't need his words. Moments later, the gate shimmered, and we were pulled back into the staging chamber. The familiar air of the association hit my lungs, cleaner and cooler than the suffocating cavern. My body felt fresh, not just because of the fire, but because I'd done it. I'd actually fought in a gate, not as an observer or worker on the sidelines, but as a combatant. A glowing panel on the wall flared to life. Each of our slips projected our individual scores onto the screen. Bran, 28,340. Mira, 31,910. Kellan, 22,004. Lyse, 26,550. And then, Chloe Vera, 76,482. My jaw nearly dropped. The others fell silent, staring at the glowing number. Mira blinked repeatedly, as if her eyes were deceiving her. Bran let out a low whistle. Even Lyse, who'd spent the fight scoffing at me, clenched her daggers so tightly her knuckles whitened. I covered my mouth with my hand, laughter bubbling up despite myself. 76,000. A chuckle slipped free, then another. I couldn't help it. The sound turned into full-on laughter, echoing across the chamber. It wasn't mockery. It wasn't arrogance. It was joy. Pure, unfiltered joy. Because after everything this life had taken from me, after reincarnation, grief, and years spent hiding behind a hostess job just to survive, here I was. A score that outstripped the others. Proof that I wasn't just another pretty face or forgotten extra in a dangerous world. Proof that Chloe Vera was here to stay.